I'm just going to leave my volume on since it's been giving issues.
Okay, cool. All right. I think we are ready to get going.
Here
All
we are.
right. Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, or good evening from wherever you're joining from.
Rising.
Yes, welcome to the Goddess Glow, the Red Lip Alchemy Chronicles, which is a sacred space where Black women and African descended creatives come together to connect, converse, and radiate brilliance. This podcast honors the divine power within us, weaving African diasporic practices, indigenous traditions, ancestral veneration, and restorative rituals into a tapestry of personal and communal alchemy. Through bold storytelling, spiritual exploration, and collective wisdom, we celebrate the red lip as a symbol of rebellion, beauty, and sacred sisterhood. Join us on this journey to celebrate our power, honor our ancestors, and glow unapologetically.
I know. Glowing.
We're all glowing in all the ways. All right. I'm so excited to get started with you ladies. This week has been alchemizing in all the different ways.
Yeah.
And then this week we get to talk about Marie Laveau from New Orleans, which is a part of my lineage. And so I'm super excited to get us started today, but really want to give us an opportunity to just check in to see how we're doing and see how our week's been. So just opening up the floor.
Well, my mic is staying off because I'm having audio issues, so I'll get started. My week has been pretty good. I had a carnival party here last weekend, so I enjoyed putting all the feathers on and bedazzling all the things and dancing half naked in my house with my friends. Unfortunately, the garbage disposal tripped and turned off half the electricity in my kitchen afterwards. And so I'm still trying to get that fixed. But having gratitude that even as my sink is leaking and half of my power is out in my kitchen, I still literally have three other sinks on my first floor in my butler's pantry and in my bathroom and in my mudroom, and my refrigerators are portable. So even though all my food went bad after that night because I didn't realize that the power to the fridge was off, I was able to move it, and we got the setup going. So that was the low of the week. The other high for me for this week was last night. I got to hang out with my fellow goddess IRL, and we went to, in honor of Marie Laveau, we went to a brass band from New Orleans concert, and it was really, really great. We had some great Thai food, some great conversation, some great drinks, and enjoyed some great music. And my nose is red because I did therapy right before this, and I always cry in therapy. But despite the tears, it's just been a really good time, both having a therapist to process things with, but then also having this dedicated space with you. So I have been trying to get into the ritual of card pulling and have not been as consistent because I let other things in life kind of get in the way. But this practice has helped to, our weekly coming together has helped to hold me accountable. Because what I'm not going to do is not do my reading before I show up with y'all. So it's been helpful for me to do the reading every week and then us doing the card pull together. And because we pull four cards every week, I've just been spending lots of time just writing and reflecting and journaling. And so it's been good to see just like the positive impacts, like the alchemy is alchemying. So I'm just grateful to have this space with you guys, and so excited that we're wrapping up our first portal soon.
Yay. I've had a pretty good week. I have been making a lot of progress on the house, and I am attributing that to us getting together because it's like, okay, if we're getting the altars together, like the rest of the house needs to get together as well. So that has like accelerated my kind of nesting home process, renovations and things like that. So that has been really good. Last weekend, I did some things with my youngest, and it was good for them to kind of get out and be seen and heard and feel affirmed and understood. So that was really good last weekend. I'm working on a home stuff, making progress on my writing. I'm working on this book on Audre Lorde, and so I've been making progress on that. And what else has been happening in my world? just other like getting systems in place with La Belle Academy. So I have like course suites and coaching and things like that I do. And I've been trying to systematize things so I'm not redoing the same thing over and over again. So like I migrated my email list from one platform to another one that allows for more automated things, but now I have to like give it the things to be automated. So I've been making progress on that as well. So I feel like there are things that, they're on your list for a long time. This is like on the home front as well as on the business front, and they're not particularly difficult to do. You just have to be attentive to getting it done. And so I've been able to just kind of be attentive to getting things done that have been on the list for a while, but I'm making my way through it. So that feels really good.
What about you, Flo? How's your week been?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. I too have been spending a lot more time actually with my ancestors and visiting the altar, especially the one having it right in my office space where I'm walking in the morning and I get to see their faces and greet them and then pull a card and extend that out to my loved ones. So, or even in my meditation, say, I'm going to pull a card for this person and reach out to them and send them a message. And so, that's been really lovely. And then in addition to that, just in the some of the workspace, I made a really good decision to let go of one of the projects I've been on that's not bringing me any more good juju or really just not aligning with my values. Being a part of it for a few years, love it, and then realize, oh, these new folks here they just don't align with who and what I stand for and what I'm about anymore. And it's okay to just release it and let them do whatever they do. And I have done what I've done, and it's been good. And so that was a good decision for myself, and I feel really good about it. And so that's been, yeah. And then, of course, I too enjoyed last night listening to the brass band. There is just something magical about a brass band coming together, and then just being out with my sister Goddess. And then we drank a glass of a champagne in honor of Marie Laveau.
Oh,
Yes, that is her. That was what the book said was her beverage of choice. So we enjoyed that. And so yeah, I think it's just been a fulfilling week of some good joyful moments, and I'm grateful for that. And looking forward to a restorative weekend. Yeah, yeah.
I love it. Congratulations on releasing something that was no longer aligned. That always feels like
I'm gonna keep releasing too, because now there's talks of year-long sabbaticals. So I got a whole lot I'm
amen and
gonna release
ashe.
to.
Yes.
All right. Well, we're going to get right into it and talk a little bit about Marie Laveau. And I'm curious to hear what reflections came up for y'all. But as we get started, just a little overview of who Marie Laveau is. She is the goddess of abundance, originally from New Orleans. And this week was the Gree Bag ritual. And her affirmation is all I do is win. I had to stop myself every time I went back to read this to pull DJ Khaled out of my head. but but I thought that was also fine. Is fine too. And so I appreciated her message is that, or a part of the message is you have the power to shift world and bend them to your will, was what
listen,
really
big
resonated with me. Go ahead.
slower. That one, no, I just say that one again slowly. That was the part that really, I bolded it and highlighted it in my journal reading. Like,
Same.
I have the power to shift worlds and bend
And bend them.
your will.
Yes.
Hmm.
Okay. I am so glad that that was not just me. I was like, read it again. Read it again.
Say it one more time for the people in the back.
Read it again. So I'm gonna read it one more
And in the
time.
front and on the side.
Yes, you have the power to shift worlds and bend them to your will. So a little bit about Marie and her story. She was born a free person of color in the French colony of Louisiana. She did have a husband or took on a husband. And then the man disappeared. And she became a entrepreneur, really running a thriving hairstylist business, but then also being able to just acquire a number of different wealthy clients, which gave her access to a number of just different connections in her community, which allowed her to become a socialite. One of the other things that really struck me, because I was not aware of the 1786 Louisiana Tignon, am I saying that right? Tignon laws, where the head coverings were required. And what ended up happening out of that was that it just made her beauty stand out more. We know that Black women are going to make beauty in whatever way we can and however I mean, it doesn't, not even how we can, because we just naturally exude beauty and brilliance in all the things we do. And so I can just see how putting that hair scarf on just continued to bring out the natural beauty in her face. And so it worked against the law,
But
bringing
let's
out.
pause the moment to like just talk more about what the law was for, right? The law for that
Yeah.
covering was because their luscious locks were so beautiful and so distracting that they feared that it was going to disrupt the social order because everybody was going to want some of that bang. So
Right.
you got to cover that head up because it's too much for us to behold. And just like the power of like, no, it's not just my hair that is disrupting social.
Right.
You can cover
Right.
my hair if you want to, and I'm still gonna glow because I'm still beautiful and wonderful and amazing. So yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, so I was like, wow, they really tried to cover these women's hair up, thinking that was gonna stop the show, and it didn't. And so moving forward, she in addition to being a socialite, was known as what some called her as a voodoo queen, and practiced voodoo, which also what I thought was interesting, just seeing that both Haitian and Creole or Louisiana voodoo also kind of came from Dahomey. And so I have some Dahomey artwork in my home. And so again, the alchemy of all of it coming together was just really beautiful for me to see. She was known for her wild parties, and she liked to drink some champagne. And so yeah, there was a lot there, but a lot out of the framing that I was really kind of sitting with was the bending powers to our will and the good juju, that and abundance conversation. And so I want to just have y'all share what y'all thought about the conversations that were led around abundance and good juju. And yeah, let's talk.
Well, I'll start because I know Kathryn about to pull out 7 books on Marie Laveau.
Look, and there it is. There it is. Clock the T.
So before she does the deep archaeological dive to Marie Laveau, so some of the things that I was reflecting on, like, so I'm someone who tends to ignore the patriarchal lineage, but I did like the fact that they acknowledged that her father was a businessman, and the fact that then she became a businesswoman and how she was able to tap into that knowledge from him. I love that they talk about her being a hairdresser and then parlaying that. I'm like, parlay is such a Black hairdresser, and she parlayed that into a prosperous business. But what resonated with me when I was reading about her, I don't know if you feel this way, Kathryn. OG Kathryn Bell was just coming up for me, right? When they described her as being a socialite, and throwing all of these wonderful grand parties, and I was like, is OG Kathryn Bell Marie Laveau? Like, I feel like they're the same person. And even the fact that she was married, she had 2 kids with her husband. Her husband, they suspect was someone who fled from the Haitian Revolution to Louisiana, but then he mysteriously disappeared and was presumed dead. And so the original Kathryn Bell, her first husband, who she also had 2 children with, also mysteriously disappeared, and was later found to be dead. And then she, remarried and had this other relationship. So I think, parts of that resonated with me about what her experience was. Other things that resonated with me for her was they talk about the relationships that she built. And so even as we think about that initial quote that we'll say 17 times before we're done, you have the power to shift worlds and to bend them to your will, the ways in which she did that. So she started as this hairdresser, built this prosperous business based on her gifts. And as she was a socialite, people would tell her their secrets. And then she would use those secrets to bend the world to her will, but she always did it in a positive way. So I love how they said she had a friend who was a head chaplain, and it gave her political and spiritual leverage as well as access. But instead of using that access just for her own benefit or for any evil, she used it to do good acts, like visiting with and praying with for people who were incarcerated. So I just love that she had all of this power and wielded all this power and then used all of her power to do these wonderful and amazing things in her community. So those are some of the things that resonated with me about her.
Yeah, I agree with that. I appreciated that she knew how to throw a good party and also was very much involved and engaged in the community. So, yeah. What about you, Dr. Dr. Kathryn Bell?
Dr. Kathryn Bell, Professor K. I had very similar reflections as Tiffany. I definitely thought of the original Kathryn Bell. I was like, oh yeah, there are so many overlaps and parallels here in terms of the relationships, in terms of the children, in terms of the business savviness and socialite, being a socialite, being beautiful, all of those kinds of things. So those things all stood out to me. I was also thinking about just the time of like again with the one of the themes being abundance and like kind of spiritual guidance and intuition and just being connected. So she's connected and she gets insight to different things where she can make certain kinds of decisions. I'm also working on this Audre Lorde book, so I'm thinking about like Audre Lorde talks about her mother who was also from well, wasn't from Haiti but was from, like, her dad was from Barbados and her mom was from oh, not Curacao, but it's like something else with a C that I can't remember the name of it now. But like around the time of the Second World War, like her mother anticipated that the war was coming. So she started to ration like coffee and sugar and stuff like that, like long before word of the war came. She's like, I don't know how my mother knew this already. And I think part of it was her connections and talking to people, but part of it was like the spiritual connection of like knowing something is coming and being able to prepare for that. And I think that is another way that we can bend the universe to our will, through community, through connection, through relationships. I also appreciated her work with people who were incarcerated in particular and trying to protect them, whether it was, so they give one example in here of them, of her helping somebody who was accused with getting acquitted. But in the Jambalaya book, which is the other book that I've read that has several chapters on her, she talks about other examples of that too, of her working with people who are incarcerated. So I love just the social, the commitment to social justice issues in addition to the entrepreneurship and the idea that these are not mutually exclusive things. I love the emphasis on abundance and the reminder that, you know, our jobs are never our source, and that there are resources and sources available to us that we don't even know about yet, right? And so that's something that I know that I received spiritually and intuitively around the time that I quit my job. It was like the universe was like, there are opportunities available for you that you haven't even heard of yet. Like, don't even worry about it. And it's like, I remember announcing on social media, like I put in my resignation on March 1st of 2023 for June 30th. And like a week after that, I announced it on social media. And then like a week after that, I got a DM from somebody at this fellowship in Germany that I'd never heard of this fellowship before, but they were like, oh, we saw you're leaving the academy. You were like on my dream team of somebody to bring out for this thing. Would you still consider applying? Right. And so it's like I literally had never heard of this fellowship before. But when I announced that I was quitting and leaving the academy, people reached out to me about the fellowship. So that's just like something that for us to remind ourselves of as we continue to walk away from things that don't feel aligned, which is kind of where you started out, Ebony. It's just like, yeah, there are things that no longer, like for me, the academy no longer felt aligned for me. Like I love the reading, I love the writing, I love the research and the speaking. I did not love the department meetings. I did not love the committee meetings. I did not love grading and all of this other stuff. And so I was able to not allow my job to get in the way of my work, and walking away from the job allowed me to be more aligned with the work that I feel called to do. And the universe has continued to provide for me in the aftermath of those decisions. So yeah, I was definitely feeling the abundance energy. I still have to work on getting my bag together. I have some of the ingredients, but not all of the ingredients. But I will definitely be giving my attention to that in earnest.
Did you do your green bag, Ebony?
I did. I completed it.
Look at you.
I realized, having the garden, having all the things, and, I do a lot of retreats and healing work out in the community. And so I had my citrine already. I have, a pound of citrine sitting in my cabinets. I had my cinnamon sticks. I had rosemary. I had cowrie shells. I actually put a few on my desk, just to give myself some good reminders. I had the oil, so I did all of it, blew on it, sealed it up, kissed it, gave it some love, and I've got it here in this space. And I actually took another piece of citrine because citrine is known as the merchant stone, and so they say it's to keep a piece of citrine in your wallet, which I won't fit because I keep a very small wallet. But I decided to take the citrine that I had. That used to just sit on a little tray in my kitchen and place it on my wallet. So all this week now, when I put my wallet down, I put my citrine on top of it. It's just kind of just more ways to just tap in. But yeah, the message around abundance resonated with me as well. We called Professor K, Sojourner Truth, bringing us out of the work railroad, and I ended
Done
up
that.
lit.
Nothing us to freedom.
Listen, and so I too quit my job in 2023 as well, in the fall, and continue it. But moving into that felt like a little like excited, and also what is to come, and really that like scarcity to abundance mindset was powerful in 2024. And I told myself I have to bring that into 2025 and continue to dream and shift and grow. And so that's what I've been continuing to try to do, even when some of these climates and these folks around us want to act up. So
Yeah, the abundance part was amazing. And even connecting that to the OG Kathryn Bell, I think we've talked about this before. Like, am I my ancestors' wildest dreams? Like, our grandmother was a business owner and was, quite wealthy and doing, I think probably if you compare what she was living with then versus what we're living with now, like if you translate into this time, she probably had much more money than us, right? And so the abundance is real. But also as you guys talk about like your transitions that you've made from your previous worlds and the way that she parlayed, right? She had this one skill set and then was able to translate that into something different. And I think that we are all doing that in different ways ourselves, right? Like we were trained in one way and had this one set of skills, but how do you take that and translate it into something that's more meaningful and more powerful and more aligned with what you want to do is also beautiful.
Definitely. I love that. What did you just say that made me think about like the original Kathryn Bell, our ancestors, abundance,
Heartland.
parlaying. Oh yeah, the one skill. So I feel like we always already have multiple skill sets as well, right? And I think a lot of times I think we're socialized to do the thing that is hard or that is grueling or that is grinding as opposed to the thing that brings us that comes with the most ease. And so I think part of our being aligned with our purpose is doing the most easeful thing. Like that's why it's easeful. And sometimes we make stuff harder than it actually has to be. So for me, like I want to connect to the abundance, but also the easefulness of abundance, as opposed to like, how do I need to grind this thing out, or how do I need to like cobble all these things together? A lot of times, like the path of most ease is going to be the path that's most abundant as well.
Mhm. I also love the way that they describe her bio for when she died, that she was a devout Catholic, because that's not how I've ever envisioned her.
yeah.
And that might have been true as well, right? And so the fact that like you can hold different aspects of your personality and you can be a devout Catholic and practice voodoo. So I really love that. And I did not know that she was considered like they called her a nurse, right? And so, but the ways in which she used the indigenous herbs and her voodoo goddess power as a healer. And so for me, also like just kind of tapping into that, Ebony, I'm supposed to be starting my apothecary. So I need to, it was inspiration for me for like, you better honor Marie Laveau and get your apothecary together, child. But even like as I have my notes, it's like, she used her indigenous herbs to heal. She was known for her wild parties and she had a thriving brothel. And so Professor K, that made me think about you because like Ebony already got the herb garden. I'm already throwing the wild parties and you
I'm
got
getting a dungeon going. I'm working on the sex dungeon.
Yes.
So it's interesting that the language of brothel was used here in the Jambalaya book. She's described more as like an elite matchmaker kind of person. So, tomato, tomato, I guess depending on
Mhm.
how you want to frame it and who's framing it.
Brothel, matchmaker, they go together.
same.
Same.
So, but it's all it's all needed. It's all needed. There are some industries that persist despite other economic situations. So there's something to be said for that as well. But yeah, all in all, it was really good. I really was excited about and inspired by and kind of reinvigorated by the emphasis on abundance, especially with so much doom and gloom in the ether, just in terms of like what's on social media and what we're encountering out in other spaces. So I think it's important to like again remember that we can bend the universe to our will and not have to succumb to all of the negative talk that's kind of swirling around. Because I know a lot of different issues without being like head in the sand, not paying attention to what's going on, which I think there's a difference between like paying attention to what's going on and like being able to see with that third eye and that spiritual eye how to navigate that versus like spiraling based on all of the news headlines and things like that.
Yeah, I agree. I appreciated the message of abundance being the way of the universe. Like that's like it's our way. It's not, something that one person can hold or only a few can get. We can all hold that abundance as a part of our way of things. And so I'm going to continue to hold that as I continue to move through this year and the next and the next and the next. But
All we do is win, 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 no matter what.
all we do is win, 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 no matter what.
What also struck me, in thinking about the Gregory bag is just the way in which like our ancestors have a footprint in so many different places and how we're so connected, right? Because when we did the and Still I Rise, um that goddess had her Gregory bag and that's why they couldn't execute her until they took it off. And then even thinking about I did New Year's in Panama, maybe 2020, and they give you lentils and they tell you to put lentils in your purse as like a form of prosperity. So this one called for black eyed peas, but the way that these like practices are just like all over the diaspora, and so it's exciting to have a deeper connection to them.
When you looked at the items in the that were for the Gregory bag, like the options, were there any of the options that really resonated with you that you were like, oh, these are the ones I want to put in, even if you haven't fully gotten it all together? Was there any from
Um,
that list?
Well, definitely. I was like, oh, I got all the black eyed peas, and I actually think I'm gonna make some black eyed peas tonight. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna open up a fresh pack. I'll just make some and then put some in the bag. And so we black folks every New Year's, like I don't know a black family that doesn't make black eyed peas for New Year's. And the good luck that it brings. So I love that. I do have all of these herbs. And then I have some. What's that? Is the palm oil the red oil that we make red with, Trina? Because I do have some red palm oil. I don't know if I have any frankincense resin or oil, but I may have like some. I have like all these essential oils, so I have to see if frankincense is in there. But that's the one that I think that I don't have. Um, and I definitely have citrine around the house. I definitely have aquamarine around the house. I don't have a magnetizer. And so, but I love that concept. That's something that I had never seen or thought about or heard before. Like I've looked at crystals in terms of like crystals, different crystals charging things. But these natural like magnets and magnetizers for like how I can just be a magnet for abundance and prosperity. I really like that idea. So Ebony, what did you use? Did you have lodestone already in your
I did already have lodestone, and I added a piece of foil just as an extra. I was trying to get to I think I was trying to get to seven, because they said to do an odd number. So
Yep,
I
yep.
was trying to, I think I was like, let me add one more thing here.
I have a New Orleans magnet with like them playing jazz music. So I'm thinking about putting that magnet
I like
in as
that.
a magnetizer with
I
my
like that.
to New Orleans. I have cowrie shells. What magical writing utensil did you use?
Magical writing. I don't think I added a magical writing
That's
utensil.
one of the things that is
No.
a magical writing utensil.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Um, but I feel like all my writing utensils are more than 7 inches. So
Yeah, I don't think I would have had a magical writing utensil that would have fit in that bag.
mm,
Um,
mhm.
yeah. Mm-mm.
So yeah, so I gotta figure out my magical writing utensil. And then what I'm gonna put it in is because I had cut some material that I got from Ghana to put on my carnival costume to cover up the
Mm,
cord and the feathers. And so I have some scraps from that. So I think I'm gonna use that and then tie them up for my green bag. I also, because I'm the maximalist and I do it just like I do my emergency preparedness bags. Like I have one in the car and I have stuff in the first floor and I have stuff under my bedroom. And so I'm like, I need multiple green bags. Like I need one to put in my work bag for when I'm at work, and I need one for my desk and one for my altar. So I probably am just gonna make two, or maybe three, because like, but I'm definitely gonna at least do two. One that I'm gonna keep in my work bag. Because I do have a bag that like it's like I literally only take it to work and it has all my like my stethoscope and all that other stuff in it. But just thinking about being more intentional about the energy that I bring and how I can tap into that alchemy for these babies and these families that I'm serving while also like protecting my energy as well.
I love that.
So the answer to your question, which appeal most, everything is the answer.
Yeah. Yeah. What
I
about
I
you?
I like the different elements. I think my favorite one was the cowrie shell because it represents like currency, but also reminds me of a yoni, right? And so there's like that dual, like abundance, reproduction, creativity, yoni, sensual, sexual, as well as abundant energy. So I think that was probably my favorite one in there. Yes. Definitely.
I
Oh,
love
and I
it.
love the Zora Neale Hurston connection that was mentioned as well, because she's one of
Yeah.
my. I actually don't write much about Zora Neale Hurston, but I love her as a writer. She's definitely like one of my literary ancestors. So I also appreciated that connection.
Mm-hmm.
I did as well, and love Zora Neale Hurston too. So I really appreciated that and seeing like the mentorship and pathway there.
And I didn't know Zora Neale Hurston was a voodoo goddess. Did you know this, Professor Cat?
Yes,
Did not.
only well because she studied like voodoo, but she also studied
I know
like
she went to Haiti to
anthropology.
write
Yes.
Your Eyes Are Watching God, but I didn't know that she had become a voodoo priestess herself.
Had studied all the things. Well, one of my favorite things about her, aside from everything, is that she
Lots
lied
of
about
things.
her age when she went to school.
That I did
And,
know. Yeah.
and so I love these like again, the stories we don't talk about as much in terms of our mothers and grandmothers and aunties, like the ways that they told, kind of bit the universe to their will around their age and expectations for that in order to go to school and things like that. Or
Mhm.
even there's a whole other person that I have a friend who wrote a biography of her because it was her mentor who had not only not disclosed her actual age with going to school, but had like had like whole kids that she denied ever being married and ever having kids. And like it wasn't until she passed away and her obituary came out that people found out, like people who were really close friends of hers found out that she had like adult children at that point. And so I think it's so fascinating the ways that we protect ourselves with what we disclose and what we don't disclose in certain kind of situations. But Zora is like one example of many of those things. And I think these kind of texts, and when we celebrate these ancestors and these goddesses, it's like reconnected to these fuller, more complex, more nuanced stories and embracing those instead. Like this is also why I love somebody like Maya Angelou, who like just put all her business out there. And it's just, Maya Angelou, I hate when adults get out here and act like they've always had their stuff together and they've never made any mistakes. And it's like we have to talk about the things we've done well, but we also have to talk about the mistakes that we've made so that as children and the youth are coming up after us, they know that it's okay to make mistakes and you can recover from mistakes and things like that. So I appreciate the nuance of the different figures that we've been able to take a look at and spend more time with over these last couple of weeks. And of course, each other.
I agree. I agree. All right. Well, I'm excited that we completed the Temple of Ancestors. And
I'm excited
so, oh, go
too.
ahead. Yeah,
No,
you excited
I
too?
was gonna say I'm excited too. And listen, when the last thing I told my therapist, I was like, listen, I'm about to unpack this with my goddesses first, but next week when we come back, the first thing that I want to talk to you about with my EMDR is what ancestral traumas am I willing to release? So I
Mm,
really loved as we completed the Temple of the Ancestors, the mantras, and it
yep.
me feeling more deeply rooted after participating in doing the readings and doing the work. But I
Mm,
also just love the invitation of these journal questions. So they obviously all resonated with me, but that one is the one that I think I still need to do the most work on. And the ways
mhm.
in which I hold on to the trauma of other people that's not mine to hold, and the desire to like release that as a way of honoring the ancestors. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah, I appreciated the summary of all the affirmations of all of the temples we went through. So I'm gonna read a few and then we're gonna pull cards for us and close up. But a few of them, the mantras is I am firmly planted and deeply rooted. I am safe. It is safe to be safe. I am my sister, and my sister is me. And all I do is win, 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 no matter what.
Which, do you have a favorite of the mantras of the ones that we've gone through so far?
You know, I really appreciate that I am safe and it is safe to be safe.
That's the one that is, I don't know if I should call it my favorite, but it's the one that I feel like I've needed the most work on, and that I
Yeah,
feel it happening.
right,
Just like that, like you don't have to be so hyper vigilant. Like you literally are safe.
right.
Despite everything that's going on around you, you are safe, and it's safe to be safe. And that part like means something like the ways in which we have been programmed to be so hyper vigilant, and the ways
Hmm.
in which, Professor K was saying how like everybody's spiraling appropriately, right? Like it's a lot going on. And sometimes I feel like a little bit of that survivor's like remorse, right? And that guilt for being okay. And so this reminder that like you are safe and it's safe to be safe, like that permission to be safe and to not be consumed by everything that's happening, is was really been resonating with me in this work that we've been doing the past few weeks.
Yeah, I agree.
I love the all I do is win, but I'm
Course.
also feeling really connected to the I'm firmly planted and deeply rooted because we've moved a
You're
lot
work,
in our
yeah,
lives.
you're working on that a lot in
Mm,
Savannah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm loving Savannah so much. Like it does feel so deeply like a spiritual home, and I've been making these beautiful connections. It's just a beautiful community. There's just it's amazing. So I'm feeling that. And then also all I do is win for sure, for sure.
for
Um,
sure.
but are we going to answer? Do we want to talk about any of the journal questions, or?
You got time?
Do you
You
have
got
time?
Well, I'll say quickly, I think the what ancestral traumas am I willing to release paired well with the abundance chapter, because I'm thinking about like for us, there
Yep.
is a lot of like stuff around money, right? And fears around money. And so like I really do love like pairing that prompt and that question with the embracing the abundance and not the fear of like getting and losing abundance, but knowing like the universe is like it's an unexhaustible resource, right? Like, so those two things went really well together for me. But if anybody else wants to speak on it, you can.
Yeah, I'm gonna be unpacking that with some EMDR next week, so I'll get back to you. But
I
that's
love
definitely
it.
the question that I was like, oh, this is where I
Mhm.
need to do the most work on, like releasing some of those traumas.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And then just like this permission from the ancestors that like you don't have to hold on to those things. So
Mhm.
Yeah, mine was the what beliefs that I inherit,
Mhm.
and just really trying to work on. I mean, it's still a release, right? Beliefs that were passed down and that I'm still unpacking and talking with my family about, and so I recognize that I still hold them, and also the how can I ground myself daily, because that's been a practice of mine, getting up in the morning, doing my meditation, holding space and time and quiet. And a lot of my morning walks lately have just been myself, or a call with my mother and connecting there. And so that's also a part of that meditative practice that I've just been working to deepen. Yeah.
Ooh, I feel like the beliefs that were inherited that I feel most proud of like releasing is around sensuality and sexuality and erotic empowerment.
Mm,
Like I'm so like ecstatic in like the emotional sense as well as like the sensual and sexual sense of like, oh wow, like I was able to release this and really like embrace other ways of doing this thing, which again connects in some ways back to our maternal grandmother, but there was still shame that was put on her around her sensuality and sexuality. So I have gratitude that I'm able to embody an erotic empowerment that is not connected to shame. That and like
Yeah.
I really am like feel no shame. Like,
Yeah, I love that
like
because
it's
mine is around
really
being colonized. My family was so open sexually that it's like never been a problem around.
yeah,
But I love that you get to release that and then
yeah.
bring that into the space, and there's just zero shame there now.
Yay.
Hmm.
Okay.
I'm still, it's going to take me a couple months, years. I'm gonna get there though. I'm gonna get there, Harriet. Harriet's going to conduct me on to freedom though. So how lucky am I to have an amazing big sister who can like help pave these ways and make it easier for me. So when I'm ready, she gonna be like, oh, you ready?
Listen.
You
Listen, Sex Down South is in September, so
ready?
you know that was my gateway.
I love a good goal.
Yeah, Sex Down South is good, and you'd appreciate it as a physician, as an
This is
educate.
educational.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it literally is like I mean, there's a lot of sex educators there, but it's like the full spectrum of like sex educators, sex workers, sex enthusiasts. It's like a broad range, and you can kind of opt into the stuff you want to opt into and opt out
I
of the stuff
love
you
a
want to opt
good
out
I
of.
love a good goal. So
This is your research. This is a part of your research, Tiff.
Very
oh,
important
but
research. I definitely used research funds to go to Sex Down South when I was still
I won't use my research funds. But Ebony though, but that sabbatical ain't until a year from now. Like we talking about this coming September.
Oh, then I say yes, do it.
Yeah.
pre-search, pre-research.
Pre-research,
This is
yes.
the thing though. This is what we need Sex Down South for. Because I can't wait until the following September because I need September and then all the way leading up to my sabbatical so that when I can be a proper hoe when I'm all across internationally.
Yeah, we need you to come in hot,
Yeah, yeah,
not
Mhm.
lukewarm.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
Right
strongly, I
now, who's cooler than cool? Oh,
We had somebody with a trumpet, and I was like, would you be interested in him blowing
listen,
your trumpet, blowing his trumpet on your vulva? And she ignored me, but I know she heard me.
listen. It was an experience. I mean, and it wasn't like it was just like, wow, it opened my mind to like, oh, literally whatever you want
whatever you
can
want.
happen. Can happen. Okay, are we ready to pull cards?
Yes. I think because the first was the ancestors, I'm gonna do like I did last week, and I'm gonna pull an ancestor card instead of a goddess card.
Okay, I'm gonna pull a goddess card. Tiff, do you want to pull an ancestor and then uh Professor K, a one for the
I have,
community? Okay,
yeah, I can pull
okay,
one for the
Yeah,
community.
so you're
Okay,
gonna
so I
pull two.
just, I
Professor
okay,
pulled
K,
one
pull
from,
two.
community.
I
Yeah.
pulled, okay,
Okay,
I pulled one for myself. I'll pull one for the community.
all right. Well, this one just hopped out at me.
I love it when they do that.
I know. All right, I pulled Nana Baluku Seasons number one.
Number one.
Number one. All right. Nana Baluku is the temple threshold guardians. The element is air. Nana Baluku is the most high supreme being, primordial mother, grandmother of all the Orishas, and Dahomi's wise woman, herbalist, and healer. Her guidance is you have entered a new cycle that is very old.
Mm.
Allow yourself to become present. Trust in divine timing. Don't be in such a hurry. There are no shortcuts here.
Was she
The
the first one we did?
yes,
Mhm.
yep. And we are just closing it out of the temple of ancestor. Yeah,
Oh,
I know.
full circle.
I know. Are you ready? The embodiment is, are you ready for a new beginning? You are in or entering a new season that will force you to evolve. This is a time of major transition. You are not stuck. You are holding on to old patterns. Change can be terrifying. Allow yourself to be mentored. When
Mm.
you choose a new path, you are ripe for self-sabotage. A commitment test from the universe may pop up to delay this new pathway. Stay
Mm.
the course. Your time is now. The goddess declaration is, I am limitless.
I love this. I also would add the hold on, where was the thing? Holding off. Oh, change can be terrifying. I usually add to that even change that you desire, because a lot of times people think of change as this thing that happens to us that we're not prepared for. But like even something you actively want and you're manifesting,
Exactly.
it's just something different from what you've been doing, and that unknown can be scary. And so I try to remind people like it's okay to acknowledge how scary it can be to do something different, even if you want something different.
Right. That's been me this year. I feel like at times I'm in this like analysis paralysis. Like I know the work that I want to get done outside of what I'm doing day to day, and I'm not holding time for it. And it's because I'm over analyzing, and then I get stuck, and it's my change that I want. And yet the other things are just day to day, smooth running. And then I hold myself up with that because it is terrifying. Yeah, it's a good point.
I love it. I love coming back, right? When these ancestors are like, here we coming back full circle for you. So I love that. All right, I pulled the Mother of Fire. This is the ancestor deck. I love the Sankofa bird. Look back at it on the back. And this is a card. So she is the Mother of Fire. Shine and rise is her declaration. Yes, own it all, the good, the bad, and the potentially ugly. Own your power. Living life by your own rules is not easy, but this is what is necessary for you. Let the haters hate. You enjoy the attention. You have the power of influence. Use it wisely. You got next. So I love this tie of the power of influence, like just as we were talking about Marie Laveau and her and how she wielded her influential powers. Many are warmed by the bright light you shine. This makes you a magnet and a social butterfly when you choose to be. Use your powers of influence for good. Ancestral memory. The Mother of Fire shows up as mitochondrial Eve, whom science says is the first woman and most recent common ancestor for all living humans. Our Eve is from the San people of Southern Africa. Ancestral medicine. Kaboom! Guess who stepped in the room? You have inherited your ancestors' passion and enthusiastic penchant for standing out. Shadow aspects, beware of jealousy, deceit, and betrayal. Stop trying to preserve your own image. Life is too short to be shallow. The tarot correspondence, this corresponds to the Queen of the Wands, and her declaration is my confidence is magnetic, also tied to our groupie bag and us being magnetic and what we want to attract into our lives. So I love it.
I love that you pulled the medicine one too,
Of
with the
course, yeah.
mitochondrial and all of
I
that stuff in there.
love
Right.
mitochondrial DNA. Yes, so this is a beautiful card. I love all the little babies
Mhm.
hanging out by her feet. Yep. All right, what you got
Okay.
for us in the community.
So I pulled for myself Iset number 44, which is surrender. So this is goddess, and I feel like we've pulled her before too. Goddess of spiritual surrender, Nubia, Egypt, temple, high priestess, element bush. Goddess Iset is revered as a magical healer and sorceress. She is of 10,000 names. You may know her as Isis, her Greek name, or Auset, or Aset, or Wuset. Iset was worshipped in ancient Nubia, the Sudan region, Egypt, and beyond. The guidance, let it all go. Say out loud, I surrender. These words can cast a spell. Breathe them in. Embodiment, release control, stop bonding around struggle. I love that line. Hand the keys to the divine, allow spirit to carry you and fill in the gaps. You don't have to figure it all out. Goddess has your back. Have faith in where you are in this moment. Goddess declaration, everything I need to know finds me at the perfect time. I love this because I feel like it ties in with the abundance conversation that we've been having up to this point as well. And so I've definitely been in a place of like embracing, it's like it's the balance between planning and acting and just receiving, right? And I think a lot of times when we're talking about the feminine energy, it isn't just about the sensuality and sexuality, although I love that, but it's also receiving energy and the attracting energy. So yeah, that definitely resonates. And then the community card is number 35, Queen Nandi. And so this is goddess of intuition, Zulu, temple, queens, element fire. Queen Nandi was the mother of warrior King Shaka Zulu. His father's royal family first rejected her. They said she wasn't pregnant and her belly resulted in Ishaka beetle sting. But Nandi knew her son would be great before he was born. Nandi's guidance. You already know. Take a deep breath and surrender to what you know to be true. Trust your inner wisdom and guidance. Embodiment. What is your guidance telling you? Put your hands over your third eye, center of your forehead, and ask, if I knew what the answer would be, then follow your first instinct. The creator and your ancestors connect with you through your intuition. Trust your internal GPS. The nudges, signs, and coincidences are divine guidance. Slow down, go for a walking meditation, be present with nature, and pay attention. Being present allows you to feel, hear, see, and sense your guidance. Goddess declaration, I am knowing. I feel like this one works well with the surrender. The trusting the intuition and surrendering go well together.
I agree. I love that. And we get a double message around surrendering.
Absolutely.
What do I need to surrender to, and what bonding am I doing over struggle?
Listen.
I'm gonna keep that in my meditation for sure.
Definitely embracing and inviting more ease. It's always a pleasure to spend Friday with you guys.
Always
Yes.
so good. I love you both so much.
I appreciate y'all so much. This has been wonderful. Again, like the reading, the accountability, like in a good way, the communion.
Accountability without pressure.
Yes.
Exactly.
Positive peer pressure, fluid planning. So thanks to you guys. I did start up the YouTube channel, so I sent y'all the description that I used to
both want to call together when you were sending those.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so if y'all want me to change anything, let me know. But if not, then I mean at any time we can go in and change anything. But let me know if you're ready for me to start. Oh.
Hey y'all, we about to launch.
It's going live.
Going down. Or going up.
Or going up. Yes. That's right. All right. We're going to disconnect now.
Yes, we're going to disconnect and we'll talk logistics after this. But they're getting all the behind the scenes.
Right. Because we're not editing this.
We sure not.
All right, y'all. I'm clicking off. Bye.